All right. Hey, folks, this is Ben from Instaclustr. Welcome to the next episode of InstaBlinks. With me today, we have Jaime Borucinski, who is our product lead for Apache Cassandra at Instaclustr. Welcome, Jaime.
Hey, Ben, good to be here.
Awesome. Thanks so much. It's great to have you on. It's also really awesome to have some folk from the product side to share a little bit around what we're seeing on our platform, what's happening kind of in how people are using it, but also kind of what you're excited for. But before we get into that, and before we really get started around Apache Cassandra 4.1, which is exciting, are you able to give me a bit of background about your past experience and your role at Instaclustr?
Yeah, sure thing. So previously, I've worked with IBM and spent 9 years with KPMG doing some management consulting with IT solutions. That was really great. I really enjoyed that. Because I'm based in Canberra, there was a lot of federal government work. And yeah, I got some good exposure on creating IT environments for, really large user base, and being able to take that experience. And now that I'm with Instaclustr and working with open source solutions, it's really exciting to see some big data management solutions and so many customers that we work with, what their needs are, how they use the product. So now that I've joined Instaclustr, as you noted, I'm the product lead with our managed Apache Cassandra offering. So my role really is to work with our DevOps team to build out new features and get the best out of the operations that our customers would want their Cassandra clusters. I suppose I'm a bit of a IT geek in that regard. That's the sort of thing that makes me tick, and really interested to see what tools we can use to get that great operating environment for our customers.
Yeah, no, sounds very cool. And I think that kind of, leads on, right, to kind of the topic of today, which is Apache Cassandra 4.1, which got released a couple of months ago. And, that's very much a release that was centered around building on a base, right, of 4.0, which was a really, really big release, some great stuff that kind of came out of that. Just for everyone who's not necessarily familiar, what was kind of included in the 4.1 update, and how does that kind of build upon Cassandra 4.0?
Yeah, I think in general, what we see in 4.1 is setting the future up for Cassandra. With the release of Cassandra 4, we got a great stable database, which really shifted the application forward from the features and operations from Cassandra 3. So for Cassandra 4.1, you can see that the core application has a few features, but also taking that pluggability approach so that as experimental features come through, we can sort of hive off that core application and keep the stability there, but also then just gives that incubation for aspects that we want to test out, and that'll push Cassandra forward.
So as you kind of hinted at, there's some great pluggability that's kind of been implemented in 4.1, and that potentially leaves, the path open for some more interesting stuff kind of going on into the future. So I'd love to understand a little bit more around like your view on the pluggability, and then maybe I can give a bit of my take as well.
So I suppose there's a little group of items that come in that pluggability approach. One of them was an enhancement with memtable implementations and just the configuration for each individual table in the database. I think that's just getting a more granular approach for how we do with that. And also with the CQLSH authentication. It's another one that falls into this, the pluggable features, and just making it more extensible, increasing the inclusion of the authentication methods that we can use for that authentication. So there were two that really stood out for me.
Yeah, I think, and look, I totally agree with you, like kind of improving the story around authentication. Like, look, Instaclustr, we've written a few authenticators like LDAP and Kerberos. And so, improving kind of the developer experience, that'll just lead to more great things in the community, more support for different authenticators. The mem table stuff looks super awesome, and, kind of leads the way to some kind of fringe projects that have come out of some like really, really interesting stuff, out of some really interesting places, I should say. But yeah, the mem table pluggability really, really leads on, and I think sets up the next release of Apache Cassandra.
One of the things that maybe not so much about pluggability, but I'm interested around seeing how Apache Cassandra runs with Java 11. So we know that's sort of been hanging over our heads with Java 8, sort of, getting put to the side. And that's something that we'll be picking up to have a look at when we release 4.1. I appreciate that there's a little bit of a constraint that any of the binaries compiled against JDK11 can only run on JDK11. So I'm going to work with my dev team, obviously, just, not only to build the application, but build out our understanding of how we can help customers make that step change as well. It's not going to be a trivial change, but I know that we'll be able to take people through and just keep things current and getting the most out of the tools that we have running with Apache Cassandra.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. The change in JVM version is huge. And I mean, like, you think Java 8, man, that's old. That's really old, right? Like, that's like not supported. Like no one's touching that. Because you think about we've moved to Java 11, but I think the most recent release of Java is like 19 or even up to the 20s. I have to double check. I've kind of lost track.
It's time, isn't it, Ben? It's time for us to keep moving that.
It's time, people. It is definitely time. So yeah, super excited about that.
Challenge.
In terms of the future, right? We should start to see hopefully the community releases start to keep pace with some more of those newer JVMs, right? Because they're the ones with the cool garbage collection algorithms. They're the ones with all the great performance improvements, right? So super excited to see and potentially hear more about that. Jaime, I just want to say a massive thank you for your time today. Any last minute thoughts you want to leave us with?
Well, I was going to check actually, noting that, you've been in amongst the community for quite a while, and I thought, be interesting were there any tidbits of when you first started to get engaged and were testing out what is Cassandra, what are the features, and while that was a while ago, what was the evolution of your experience with the community?
Oh, so really, I think the biggest thing for me is like, and this is why I love open source software, is right. You're able to grab it and just start running and working with it. You can kind of run headlong into it, download it, install it locally, play with it, make all the mistakes locally, get amongst it. For me, it was really the mailing list, right? This is 10 years ago, right? So getting involved in the mailing list, asking, even just asking questions, right? It's a great way to get to understand things. You start to pay attention to other questions that are asked. The great thing about like open source software and being able to like try things out, give it a go yourself, is very quickly, even if you're kind of new and a new user, you might see someone else asking the same question or hitting a roadblock that you hit, but you managed to figure out. You go, oh, hey, this is what worked for me. Sometimes you'll walk around that most of the time that'll be the right way. Sometimes you might have got something slightly wrong, and someone more experienced might go, think about that twice in production. But it's always a great learning experience, right? So that mailing list is a great spot to be.
Something I've observed as well with the community, because it is all those that probably are passionate, let's say, about Cassandra. It is really open to just supporting those that are new to Cassandra, but also having a really robust conversation between those that are more experienced with the product and wanting to get the best out of the product. I've found it really constructive and encouraging, no matter what level of familiarity or skills you have with the product. So I agree. I think the passion within the community is just that little X factor that makes it fun for us. Yeah,
definitely. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jaime. We'll leave it there. And thanks so much for your time. And for everyone else, we'll catch you in the next episode of InstaBlinks. Cheers.
Thanks, Ben. See you all.